All right, we are live. What is up, everybody? It is the RP Ginger here, and we are coming at you with session 39 of Storm King's Thunder. This session is titled A Daughter's Promise and a Queen's Decree. Last we left off, the party had finished off fighting the Cloud Giants at Lyn Armal, and finally gathering a conch of teleportation, finally transported themselves to Maelstrom, the location that they have been searching for a long time, where they were hopefully going to get to the bottom of the mystery that has shattered the ordning, the caste system that organizes all giants. They entered into this magical fortress underneath the water, or so they've been told. And what they found below was a pretty curious circumstance. They explored the teleportation room and made their way upstairs, where they stumbled into a performance given by the apparently nobility of the Storm Giants, two sisters named Miriam and Nim. And they were giving a performance via crab piano and vocals to a bunch of other giant lords who were waiting to see counsel with the queen. When they noticed that small folk, or the party, had shown up to Maelstrom, which was quite a surprise to them, they were told that they would be given counsel to the queen and be able to speak to her, but were betrayed, and a trap was sprung, and the party was apparently labeled as assassins coming to finish off the noble family. Apparently the mother, Queen Neri, had already been murdered, and you guys were allegedly the ones that were sent to finish off the rest of the Storm Giants. But a fight broke out. It was pretty close to a wipe on your guys' side, but thankfully, to some loud spells and some resilience from the party, enough noise was made to summon Sarissa. She bursted through the door, kicking it open, and demanded that the room stop what they were doing. All the people threw down their arms, and she said that this is no way to treat guests. She would be given counsel or a meeting with these people and hear them out, but not before being held treated like proper guests. So you guys were now sent back down to the quarters, where Mirren and Nim tricked you guys into waiting, and a Storm Giant cleric is just finishing healing you guys up. He's a large, bearded man. It seems like a lot of these Storm Giants do have big ass white bushy beards that literally are like a forest in comparison to you guys in size. He comes off of his knees, kneeling down in the center of the room, picking himself up, and after not any small talk, just basically silence, he looks, you can tell right off the bat, pretty unsure of the fact that he's healing you guys, and not too impressed that you're here, but Queen's orders are Queen's orders. And he leaves the room. Tells you guys in a very short, gruff voice, "Stay here. You'll be summoned by the queen shortly," and stomps off. What do you guys do?
Thank you.
How do you guys feel like this is going?
Really bad.
Really? I could have sworn it was going wonderfully. We're all still alive. We have a meeting with the queen.
Mighty fortunate that she intervened. I'm glad she did. Holy moly.
Yeah, I got a little.
Killed the one anyway.
Turned out really bad.
Oh, she certainly seems more of an ally than her sisters.
So, how are we going to break the news to the queen, or the princess, I guess? I don't even know what to call her.
Well,
If we still believe her father is alive.
yes, she's certainly changed somewhere, from what I understand. But nonetheless, I think that we should just be open and honest with her. You agree?
Agreed.
Perhaps you should let me do the talking.
That's really worked out well for us in the past.
It works out real well overall.
Yeah, just a suggestion.
It's not a bad idea. I mean, she does seem single. You seem to have a way with the ladies.
Yes.
Maybe just face palmed a little bit.
But then again, I mean, we could always use our big weapon and get Livy to make pancakes.
Yes.
If they have the fixings for it, I mean, why not? Or any food, really, because food just kind of has a way of bringing up conversation anyways.
Are you gonna be able to flip giant pancakes, Libby?
Libby just kind of goes, you saw me in Zephyr's castle. I got this.
That's true.
Prestidigitation.
That's true.
Sound of heavy footfalls interrupt your conversation as after a few minutes pass, another guard shows up pushing open the door, and his voice booms out and says, "The queen is ready to meet with you. Follow." And you guys don't actually have to worry about moving your tokens, but I'm assuming everybody does.
Absolutely. I'll go first if that's necessary.
Yeah, let's actually, at the very least, establish a marching order. You guys can do that in the room. So let's set up your marching order in the room. And then I'm going to assume that that's how you guys kind of are carrying yourselves about while you're in here.
I don't have the map open anymore, so if somebody could just move me to the front of the line, that'd be pretty cool.
You want to be in the front? I can actually share the map to you again, Octavius.
Well, you know, it's there, then it's not there, then it's there again.
So, Octavius in the lead. Who's going to go behind him?
I will.
All right, Warndell in behind him.
Now, I'll bring up the rear.
Libby.
All right. Livy, you good with being in the secondary rear?
Sounds great.
All right, so that will be the marching order. You guys stumble out into this portal chamber, remembering the purple floors and the kind of natural cavernous walls with the starfishes and crabs kind of scuttling about. The room is much more populated this time as you start coming through, and the storm giant starts to head towards the big circular stairs, stepping by that kind of open pool of water that succumbs below about 30 feet deep you've inspected before. You hear a big puff of steam, and coming out from the south side is Bruxal, the stone giant lord, and he kind of has a towel wrapped around him, and he's immensely sweaty, and it looks like he's just stepping out as mist kind of comes up behind him, like he's stepping out of some kind of makeshift sauna room, and he stares at you guys as you walk below. You see Val, the cloud giant lord, leaning up against the wall to the north, and he kind of sneers at you guys as you're walking through.
Which one helped us?
Brexal helped you. He told you, you're the one that spoke out about speaking to the Allfather or the Oracle, and he basically said that, like, if these people have spoken to gods, then they should be heard. He didn't necessarily, I guess he defended you, yeah. So yeah, that's the stone giant Brexal, and he is basically
Rick
finishing
Levine
up.
actually had a little moment with him at the end of last session as well.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, as we're walking by, I just give him a very respectful nod.
Yeah.
Say, just say thank you again, my friend, as I walk by.
He doesn't respond, but he nods. You see the fire giant Countess or Tartha, and she is heading up towards the portal or the sigil where you guys teleported to, and she has a big kind of angry look on her face. Bright red hair and dark sooty face, the black kind of armor that you see the token looking like, and she calls out to the giant leading you guys and says, "Tell Sarissa that if she wishes to speak with small folk before us who have been sitting for hours, that we want no alliance. I'm out of here." And she blows into the torch conch and vanishes away.
And that's the one we almost killed, right?
No, the one, as you say, are thinking about that, you hear more footsteps coming through, and Helenhild, the frost giant Jarlass, comes stepping out, and she's still badly scarred, and she looks to you guys and kind of gives like actually a friendly smile and points to her bad bruises and gives you guys a thumbs up and says, "Good luck out there."
Definitely nod to her.
All fought well. It was
Yeah,
a great honor.
So we have favor at least two out of the four, which is kind of cool.
Yep. He brings you upstairs, the large swirling staircases that you guys literally actually have to like climb up. He does no help in escorting you up the stairs, and it's kind of a bit of a ordeal as you climb up each set of stairs. It takes you a while, and you're brought back through the audience chamber room. And let me guys get you situated on the map over here. So Octavios, and I should be squaring a new map to you now. Let me make sure it's popping up on Morgan's screen. It is. Okay. Giant at the front. Warrendale in behind. Livy secondary. And Reich Leviant in the rear. And he eventually, effortlessly pushes through two stone doors, which slowly kind of grind against the purple marble floors, opening up to this long, dark tunnel. You see blue glowing lights at the end of it. And as you come through this massive archway, it eventually opens up into Maelstrom's throne room. It resembles an amphitheater as you take in the scenery. Stone bleachers are behind you, raised above, overlooking the archway and this oblong chamber. In the center of this chamber is a 50-foot deep pool of seawater near the center. You see a large black mass that seems to be floating on the water's surface. And facing the pool, the stone bleachers, and facing all three of you are three enormous thrones. The middle one is the most impressive of all. It's carved of solid black obsidian, and it towers above this already impressive looking room. This throne looks like a monolith, and it has four frightfully large dragon skulls affixed to the base of it. And most interesting of all, the throne, this black obsidian dragon throne, floats above the floor. Sitting on the center of it is the storm giant who saved you only minutes ago, the self-proclaimed queen of the storm giants. As you study her, taking it in, she's kind of staring off in the distance, and you look, and she looks rather plainly dressed in comparison to the other two sisters, who looked much more of nobility. You see that her hair is fashioned in a borderline messy looking bun. Her face is very youthful, and it's apparent as she looks off and stares into the distance that she's unimpressed to be sitting here. She's kind of sitting with her legs crossed, leaning over the throne, one leg or two legs thrown over one of the armrests and her back against the other. And when she finally notices you guys have entered the room, she sits up proper and grabs a massive wooden maul. And as you look at this wooden maul, you see that it seems to be made of a warship's broken mast. She puts the maul in front of her and leans on it. She beckons the guard to leave you. And the guard momentarily looks like he's going to question this queen's order. But before words can escape his mouth, her useful presence takes on a much more stern and unforgiving look. The guard chooses otherwise than to question the queen on this order. The pounding footsteps and the sliding door are heard behind you, and then silence. It's just you in this chamber with the queen. And let me actually share the room, sorry. And as I'm trying to do that, she looks to you and beckons you to move forward. And I'm just revealing this right now.
I'll move forward, and then I will kneel, and I will say, "My queen." I will acknowledge her position.
Absolutely. And sorry, I'm just getting this all revealed for you. Fantasy Grounds hates when I reveal these massive ass maps. I don't even know why I fog award them.
Liquid follow suit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Although she
And
would totally like whisper before that happened, like when they first came in, before she got all proper, Livy just like, I like her style. Just kind of whispering to the guys.
absolutely. And as you guys, this guy is no longer in the room. So as you guys come in, you're standing right about where I have Octavius right now. And basically she motions for you to come before her, and you'd have to step around the pool basically to get to her. And you guys begin to head your way in. And as you do, You step by the pool, and a massive blast of water shoots up from the pool where that black form was floating and absolutely soaks you guys. You look now, and you see that there's a killer whale floating in the center of this pool, full-size, adult grown. And she looks almost a bit shocked and says, "Laboon, that is not how we treat our guest. I apologize. He is my friend, Laboon. I think he's hungry right now. It's normally lunchtime." And then you hear the
Livy
killer whale kind of just make a
puts
recall.
away.
Go ahead, Livy. Sorry to cut you off.
Just as she's saying that, it's like, oh, sorry, she did. It's like lunchtime for her. Livy just carefully puts away her late rapier, like just that quick draw, like attack. Last time water sprayed, it was not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just a little on edge, I guess.
No worries. Laboon, he doesn't get to see many visitors, and least of which are small folk like you individuals. To be frank, I think you're the first small folks to be here since at least a few centuries. Oh, if Mother could only see, she'd be so happy.
We are sorry for intruding, my queen. The reason we've come, the reason we believe that we can trust you, a companion of ours once spoke of you and your kindness. We've come regarding the ordning. We were worried about your father. We believe he's still around, but we'd like to find him, stop this whole thing, and figure it all out.
You have spoken many things there, my little friend. My mother always told me to never judge anyone before meeting them and seeing their actions, and she made me promise not to be narrow-minded like the rest of my kin. That is why I did not have my guards finish you off. You said that you
Wise mother.
you know she was wise, but she is unfortunately now dead. Apparently killed by individuals like yourself. That is why my family and guards were so hostile. Everyone's uptight right now. But
Understandable.
you said that you met a friend of mine. Do tell me more. I can say that I don't really know too many people like you. I can actually count on one hand the amount of times that I've met individuals like yourself.
A friend of ours, Sunlit in the Darkness, once told us that she met you and your father, I believe.
Sunny? You know Sunny?
No.
Yes, we knew her well. We traveled with her for many months.
What do you...
And I would pull her weapon out from behind me and just be like, this was hers at one point. And favorite.
Sitting up on the throne now, this black towering monolith, it begins to actually float towards you as she comes in and inspects. What do you mean, new? Where is she now?
She has left this world. And then I would just look at Livy and let her go for it.
Yeah, Livy just kind of has a very solemn face, like she made the hero's sacrifice. Unfortunately, we are here because of her, but it cost her life.
You can see that she's deeply saddened by this. There's like a punch to her stomach almost as she exhales and says, "There's been so much loss lately. This is hard." But she said she made an honorable sacrifice, and that you now stand before me here. It means that it must have been for something. For honestly, I don't know how much I would have trusted you if you'd not were to show me that and speak of her. I do not know many small folk, but I knew her, and she was a good person. And if she gave her life for you guys, then I know that it's at least it's worth hearing what you had to say. So tell me, you said that you have spoke to the oracle. My people have not heard from the oracle in many, many centuries. That is a line between the Father, Anam, our God, and giants. Our God has now abandoned us. So if he has spoken to you, I would very much like to know what he has said.
The oracle allowed us to ask it questions. Its answers were vague, but they definitely led us here. And then I would regale of each encounter at the oracle, every question we asked in detail, and the answers in specific detail.
Once he finishes going through the story stuff, I'll be sure to mention Ibreth, I believe its name was, the blue dragon that came in, that also questioned us. Kind of go through how that is why Sonny died, basically.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, it was cold.
Well, I will not forget her for the sacrifices that she made. And you just kind of info dump the questions onto her. I'm trying to recall them. It was basically, you spoke of the worm skull throw. You asked about Hecaton. Do you remember what the question directly was about Hecaton? Or
Where is King Hecaton?
I could not be
The oracle was.
Yeah, that one could
Yeah.
not be it.
Yeah. So then she will counter to you and say that she already explained that her mother was murdered. And she will go into further detail, saying that she was ambushed when going to meet with small folk. She was trying to set up a treaty between the giants and the small folk. It was kind of a passion project of hers that my father very much hated, but she was insistent about it. And one time she did not return. And when we went to find her, she was murdered. This caused my father, King Hecaton, to become unfurled. He swore vengeance and to truth. He could not let it rest to find out what happened. So he left me in charge and went looking. And that's when things got worse, because he never returned. It's been months now, borderlining a year. And word got out quickly, very quickly, that he was gone. Everyone believes that he too was murdered. So the other giants, who had heard rumors that the ordering had already been broken and that contact has been lost by Anam, seen this as an opportunity that the All-Father has scorned my father.
We do not believe that is true. And then we'll regale her also of the tale of how we became upon Rick Livian, and how that giant was able to look like and impersonate Hecaton, and then how we kind of defeated her in her ship. But I'm not sure. I believe she escaped. I don't believe we actually finished her off.
She knows of Sansuri when you speak of her, and yeah, she did combust. When she combined the two stones, the raw energy was too uncontrollable for her, and she combusted. And she would say that she's had reports of Sansuri on a mission, and they actively declared war. She was one of the first person that showed up to Maelstrom, and when she realized that my father was not around, she said that she no longer swears fealty to us, and that she will rise above. But while all other giants, including my own family and guards, believe that he is dead, I too do not believe that is true. I don't know how I know, but I just somehow feel it. I feel that he is still alive and he is somewhere out there.
We did find it out that the Oracle was unable to discern where his location was. Is there somewhere other than this plane that your father traveled to, would like to spend time in? Anywhere like that you know of? A room that might be guarded by magic?
The only time he went out of the castle was on giant meetings and all the things that come along with being king. He actually hated going to the surface. He said it reeked up there, and to be honest with you, he wasn't very fond of your kin. He wasn't very fond of our kin either. Always squabbling, he said. If you can only see them now.
Did he have any, what you call it, enemies or feuds with others?
I imagine he had enemies of everyone. All the other giants don't like being seen as lessers. You see, we as storm giants retain the highest position in the cast of the ordering. We are seen as the highest ranking and most noblest and powerful of all other giants. I imagine every other type of giant out there in some way or form was not too fond of this, but none were more powerful to actually challenge my father. Everyone else sees me as far too young and innocent and naive, even dumb-witted, so they see us now as weaker. Because I do not share the same ideals. I do not think that giants need to regain the gods' favor by murdering and causing destruction. That is foolish.
Until we find your father, I will support your claim, my queen. And again, I'll kneel, put my hand on the ground. What can we do for you?
She bites her lip as if she's holding something back that she wants to say, but she's not quite sure. It's a whole lot. And you speak of Sunny, and you speak of all of these things. You can tell that she wants to take her side, but she explains to you that even her own council, one of which has known me my whole life, my mother's brother, Uthor, he doubts my every move. My father's aunt, Mithrim, well, she arrived not long after he left for my mother's funeral. She listens to me, but I know they're all just humoring me. They're all just smiling and nodding and going along with it because they fear that maybe I'm right and that my father will come back. But I know they're all waiting for me to make just one mistake and remove me of my station. My sisters, most of all, they're jealous. That whole ruse, that whole assassination thing, they probably did that on purpose just to cause disorder and make me look less powerful. I want to trust you, but how can I know that I can?
We don't really know how we can show you we can trust you. You speak of not wanting death. You speak of fearing family. I'm not sure how to help.
Well, if I may speak.
You all are granted free speech among here. Counsel with the Queen, I wish you to speak as true as you can right now, for this is probably one of the most important conversations that will be held here in the next couple of days.
Yes, it's unfortunately I am have not been with this party for as long, and kind of feel maybe if I replaced that woman you loved so much. But what I can tell you, if you're looking for family, no bigger ancestors, no bigger group of family than the village in which I come from and was annihilated by Sensory. You would have my allegiance until the end. And a few, as just a flavor thing, a few of the ghostly ancestors kind of apparate up from behind him. One being his wife. She comes over and kisses him on the cheek, and then they just kind of disappear.
Cool. Does Livy or Warren say anything?
Yeah, I feel like Livy would actually speak up in a just kind of going. My grandpa always told me to trust my guts, to trust how I feel, and so I can't imagine the the responsibility that you've taken upon yourself, but trust how you feel.
She nods and leans in and smiles. And as she does, you notice that a necklace made of kelp kind of falls out from underneath her shirt. And you see that the necklace has some kind of pendant on it. And she floats even closer to you and says, "Thank you. Thank you, all of you." Does Warrendale say anything?
Isn't that what Sunny gave her?
No, this is something else. It looks like a scepter of some kind.
Okay,
Sorry.
But, because I remember that something like that happened.
Yeah, you did give her something for sure.
My heart, brother.
Born would probably wait to the end of everybody else having their words, and she looks over to him. He'll shrug, and he's made a lot of mistakes, but made a lot of good ones too. But the fact is, I may not be afraid to die, but that doesn't mean I want to. And well, the shit has gone to hell up there, so I might as well lend my hand and help my friends. He'll look over at everybody for a moment when he says that. Yes, I'm happy to help where I can.
You hear a little awe from Olivia, like, aw.
Well, you all honestly give a pretty convincing argument out of character. I was going to say make a persuasion check, but considering all the information that you brought forth, having Sunny as that bond and the Oracle, I'm just going to say that she does want to trust you guys. And she comes closer and says that, know that no one here, my family, guards, and all the other giants that live here, they will not go for this. They will not trust it, and they will doubt me. But they are still family to me. And they have been broken. It's just all been so much, one terrible thing after another, and none of us have had time to process it or mourn. It's all just been so stressful. The world is on the fringe of war, all because of our race, who bicker just to see who is the rightful ruler. I tell you right now, as the technical ruler, that none of it is worth it. And if any of them could even do half the job that my father did, I would stand down in a second. But as my mother raised me, to trust my instincts and to not be narrow-minded like them, and just cast you out because you're different, because you're not the same size of us, because you do not share the same ordeals, that's foolishness. I think that you have been brought here for a reason. I know that you are somehow the connection to this. And she reaches into her pocket and says, I've not told anybody, or nobody has been able to make any sense of this. But when we found my mother, we found this on her. And let me see if I can actually pull up the picture. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Wait, it's going to be here. If I can't find it in a second, I will just... Oh, I found it. She pulls out of her pocket, and it's literally like almost looks microscopic in her hand. And she flips it to you. Who opens their hand to catch it?
Libby!
Libby!
Or yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, is it
either
really
one of
big?
us.
It's a large thing.
It's not large.
Okay.
A wooden...
Libby just gets like face planted by whatever it is.
She did like a fucking boulder and dies.
It's literally tiny in her hands. Like, it almost like can't be seen. She flips it to you, Libby, and you catch it. And in your hand sits a wooden coin-looking chip with golden filigree and a goose carved into the center of it.
All right.
Please, tell me that this means something to someone. This is the only clue that we have of my mother's murder. This is what started everything.
That means something to me.
Libby's definitely making sure everyone else can see it as she's searching her thoughts, trying to be like, have I
If
read
he would
anything about
gasp, get up her hand.
All right.
As she sees you gasp and grab it, Octavius, you hold this coin in your hand, and it does mean something to you indeed, because you have a pretty much identical looking one in your backpack right now.
Which I was slowly pulling out. Still looking at it all, and then flashbacks to my master and the priests at the temple and my old life would start flashing before my eyes. And that day with my meeting of Saul at the gambling boat.
Indeed, as memories start to fill you, you are brought back to many, many months ago on the Grand Dame, a gambling ship on the banks of Yartar, your homeland, and you remember meeting Phagolus there under the alias Soul, and getting into a whole heckload of trouble as your high priest was murdered by mysterious cloaked figures. You were framed for the murder and to be hung. But upon saving Phagolus from the mess, he swooped in later on and saved you from the mess. He gave you this this wooden coin, which is the chip or currency that the Grand Dame, the gambling ship, uses as currency for their gambling float.
I would look to the queen and be like, this is the currency on a gambling boat, or where somebody very important to me was killed. This is their signature ship, and I do remember quite a few bad groups of people being there.
As
I keep Saul out of it because of the dragon and giant thing right now.
Sarissa looks to you and says, gambling ship in Warrendale. As you're taking all this in, you feel the hair on the back of your neck begin to stand up. And then suddenly a booming noise is heard as the two stone doors that you just came through slam open, and footfalls are heard running out as you see one guard, two guards run through, and then in between them is another massive stone giant storm giant. All of them have their weapons drawn. This one in the center, very muscular built with this white goatee that points down to his chest, and this long, wavy, brownish white hair that flows. And he looks to you all, weapons drawn, and yells out, "Step away from the queen, you disgusting cockroaches. I will crush every bone in your puny bodies before you ever have a chance to lay a finger on the queen. Your kind will never take another member of my family again, not so long as life remains in my body." And walking in behind him, you see Nim, you see Mirren, and you see another female stone giant. You recognize the two sisters. The other, or Storm, I keep saying Stone. I don't know why I keep saying Stone, but the other one is a female, and I believe I have a picture of her also. I'm just going to share it instead of explaining it. So you know what the two sisters look like, and this is the third female that steps forth. And they all have their weapons drawn. Sarissa looks as you guys are kind of caught between, and she says, "What is the meaning of this, you Thor? Is this how you treat our guest? We are supposed to be storm giants, nobility and the mightiest of all giants. Do these four individuals really frighten you so, Uncle?" Do you guys do anything as these 6 giants now kind of come in behind you? 3 of them weapons drawn, like they're about to fight you at any moment.
Livy has her hands up and takes like a few steps towards the queen, like kind of just like cautious, like, whoa, we're not here. We are peaceful. Peaceful.
Octavius will stand and turn and fold his hands in front of him and just kind of stand off with him.
Born will let the lightning flicker between his fingers, smile on the edge of his
Yeah.
cheeks.
Let's not be.
Uthor, he's been addressed by, speaks again. Sarissa, please do not be so naive. Trust in the small folk is what has thrown our whole ideals and world into disarray. I have lost my sister, your mother, to these opportunistic little rodents. I cannot bear to lose you as well. You are queen now. You must think of more than your girlish dreams and fantasies. The female steps forward, this almost bluish purple skinned stone giant with purplish blue hair tied back in a bun neatly, and this white horn kind of coming from her forehead. And she says, Sarissa, your uncle is right. For all we know, these are the same ones who murdered your mother and abducted your father.
I can guarantee that's not the case. And I will kneel down before him.
You will what, sorry? You're kind of like quiet on me. You'll throw down your weapon?
No, I'll just kneel down before them.
Oh, okay.
Debating. I feel like Livy would actually speak up and just be like, "She is your queen, right? Do you not trust your queen, or is it customary for giants to question their
Silence, you little rodent. You know nothing of our kind.
You're
You
right.
are-
I don't."
I believe that's why she's asking questions.
And Sarissa says, no, quiet. Let her speak. She is right. If you guys are going to storm in here and accuse them of murder from someone that they probably have never even met, then they at least have the right to defend themselves in front of me and in front of you. So let her speak. That is an order, Mithrim. She kind of folds her hands against herself and says, very well, your grace. We shall hear their case. Why do you come to Maelstrom? And obviously, you don't really need to repeat yourselves if you don't want, but what is it? What do you guys say?
That we're here to help. That we want to end the calamity. We've talked to the Oracle, blah, 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 blah. Info dump, what we already talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, like, Livy just. Sorry,
Story.
go ahead.
Oh no, I kept interrupting you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, basically on the same lines what Corey was doing, where Livy would reiterate, like, we're here because we're trying to figure stuff out, and but more eloquently, obviously.
Maybe leave out the sunny parts.
Very stoically, Octavius will just remind them, we have sworn allegiance or fealty to your queen. She is our queen now as well.
Yes.
Uthor looks to Sarissa and sneers and says, you cannot trust these ones. Look what they have done. Look what their kind has done. Sarissa,
What have we done?
they're just telling you what you want to hear. They probably know that you have some affliction for the small folk, just like your mother. But look, Sarissa, where that has gotten her.
Okay, I'm gonna try to do something.
Yes.
You're gonna have to tell me if it's cool or not, but I'm gonna try to do something. So, I have this thing called Divine Intervention. And I get an opportunity to talk to my god and be like, hey dude, we're on cool terms. This is what I need. Hopefully you can help me out. So I would like to use my divine intervention to help me use my thaumaturgy. And at this ability right now, I have up to two or three miracles that I can create, like magical effects miracles.
Yep.
And I'd like to use thaumaturgy to create an extremely realistic visual display of our time talking to their oracle. And use voices and everything else and all this magic cool shit. So hopefully hopefully Ilmater will allow me to correctly show that in a way where they think that if their god trusts us, maybe it'll help them trust us.
All right, so you got to roll me a percentile dice. That's 2 d10s.
Okay. I believe these are D10s.
6 d3. So the way the spell works is you have to roll lower than your current level. So you would have needed to roll 10 or lower for the intervention to take place. So you do your best to your ability with thaumaturgy and the spells that you have at your exposure, but it's very hard to obviously do that level of illusory with your regular means. And for whatever reason, Ilmater does not answer you in this regard. Take that for what it is. As you go to cast the spell, Thor jumps forward before you and says, "He's attacking!" And comes in and charges you. You guys do anything?
Can I tell how old this princess queen is? Like, I don't know. I probably wouldn't know the giant ages or how long they live. Really, maybe I would. I don't know.
Yeah, by the way, you just know from like basic anatomy, and she looks like the equivalent of what like early 20s, late teens would look like. She looks very young to be a leader.
I'll let you resolve what goes on with Octavius first, then.
Yeah, and if as long as they don't make any contact with any of my people, I will not react.
All right.
But if I do, I will certainly protect.
Octavius, Thor looks like he's about to charge you and attack.
No, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing.
Okay. Livy, do you interfere in any way? He's running across the room right now. Sorry, say again?
She would get defensive. She would get defensive, so like Maine's Garden's getting whipped into the hand, but she's not going to attack quite yet, in the hopes that looking threatening might make them hesitate.
Yeah, he stomps forward and is just above you, getting ready to crush you with his giant maul. And suddenly the room is filled with a blinding white, hot light. And it's as if your vision, everyone's vision, is simultaneously taken away for a split second. And you hear a booming crack of like a whip, it almost sounds like, but louder than anything you've ever heard from behind you. And the room, we'll say Warrendale, because of some resistance is the only one that's not completely blinded, is filled with lightning bolts that completely illuminate and fill this room with raw, powerful energy. It's almost as if the room itself is static and electric. And even after the bolts just completely shoot out from the entire room, encasing almost everything in it, but striking no one, there seems to be a humming and a searing white hot heat. Warrendale, as you look from behind, the floating throne has now risen above with Sarissa in it, and she's grasping the necklace that has the scepter, which looks puny in her hands, and there is smoke billowing out from the skulls of these dragons' mouth. And everyone stops what they're doing now. That blast was probably enough to decimate a war galleon in a single blow, but yet everyone in the room is completely untouched. And she says with a calm, collective voice, "Uncle, that is enough." He's now just towering above you with his weapon and realizes that he's caught up in the moment. He instantly drops down to his knee and apologizes. "I'm sorry, Your Grace. It's all been so much. The world is in war right now." Sarissa now slowly floats the throne back down to level with you guys, letting go of the necklace once more. And she looks to the room now, who all has her attention, and says, "You all speak of what to do, of who to trust, of what's been done to your sister." He points to you, Thor. "To your mother." He points to his sisters. "You speak of this like I have forgotten who she was, like she was not my mother as well." And her eyes are now tearied with passion. And she looks to the room again and says, "Let me tell you," collecting herself, "that I have not forgotten her. I think of her every single minute of every day, about what she would have done, what she would have wanted me to do in this circumstance without father. And I know she would not have wanted to see us fighting while our world is being destroyed by our kin, who squabble over who they believe is their rightful ruler. This is a dishonor to father and to mother and to all of giant kind. No wonder Anam has left us," she yells. The room now looks ashamed of themselves. "I know you all think I'm foolish," she brings her tone down, "and young, and that I have no clue what I'm doing. And maybe that's true, but I never wanted this. This is what father left. This is his choice. But I do know what mother would have told me to do. She would have told me not to condemn an entire species for unproven actions. For if I did pass sentence with such little regard like this, then would not our entire race's action be treason as well? Even your actions, all treasonous. I know none of you have had the time to deal with anything happening here, and I know this is not ideal. I know that I am not the leader that you would have chosen, but I am queen by Hecaton's decree. My father has chosen me for better or worse. So hear me now, council, sisters, and guards. I do not take these duties lightly, or live in naive, girlish dreams as you so bluntly accuse me of, uncle. My mother has raised me to question all and give every living creature an opportunity to prove themselves by their actions, and these individuals have come here and have shown me and given me more proof than any of you have been able to do. There is no doubt that what they have done is brave and honorable, and they too have made sacrifices to be here. A dear friend, she taught me that small folk are much more than meets the eye, and that even the smallest of individuals can bring light to the darkest of storms." She's tearied again. "I made a promise to that friend, and I made a promise to my mother." And she now stands up. Everyone drops to a kneel. What do you guys do?
Neil.
Yeah.
"I now make a decree as the third daughter of Hecaton, ruler of Maelstrom and queen of all giants. These small folk are not our enemies. They are to be trusted and given a chance, for I believe that now they are our only hope. I do not care if you support me or my word, for I will take this charge as my own. I will follow their leads, and I will find my father and prove this among many other things to all of you. Everyone just blurts out at this and just kind of goes into like a no way, that's not happening at all. This can't be. You can't leave. You're the ruler, Sarissa. What do you guys do?
I would speak up and, my queen, we need order. We need order amongst the giants to save the little people of the world. We will find your father. We will do everything in our power before we can return to you with him.
Livy will second that.
You
Warren,
four. Go ahead, Warren.
see, I'll look across at Mithral, these other two sisters, and this uncle. Do they look like they actually are giving into this as not following it, or do they just sort of she's throwing a temper and really don't care? Basically, I'm just looking if they're trying to fake their way through this.
They seem definitely moved and ashamed of themselves by the speech. As she speaks now, all of her youthful kind of girly demeanor has now left her, and she now stands as a very prominent and assured, confident leader, and she is kind of commanding the room. But when she says that she will leave with yous and find her father, that seems like too much for a lot of them, you Thor in particular. She instantly will silence them once more, though, and ask if her order and her decree was not heard, or if treason is what you all speak now. And none of them do. The room goes quiet again. She looks to you four and asks you,
Livy gives me a thumbs up.
what do you call yourselves, you four, before me?
I always suggested that we call ourselves Warren's boys, but they don't seem to like that name very much. But you can call us friend.
You're muted if you're trying to speak, Corey. Although Hangouts doesn't look muted, so maybe your mic came unplugged or something.
I'm not sure we ever had a name, did we? Out of the game? Do we actually give ourselves a name?
You guys have never come up with a party name, I don't think.
Livy shrugs.
Warren's boys are good. I like that. I'll give you a little bit of credit on that. That's like, getting a little bit, but I'm thinking more along the lines of like Octavius and the Wingmen.
Yeah.
But that's
Tea and pancake.
Ooh.
What I can tell you here, Stormlord, is that I haven't been with them very long. But when you look over at Warrendale, they're very honorable people. And I'm not sure that we need a name. But we are the ones of the small folk that are going to help you fix this.
As you kneel before me, or her, she nods and says, do you acknowledge me, Sarissa, queen of the giants, daughter to Hecaton, the second king?
Yes.
And she asks you that.
Yes.
yeah.
And as Reich kneels before her and now onto both knees, he bows before her, and behind him, all of the ancestral images show, and they all kneel before her as well.
Awesome. Do you allow me entry into your party to aid you on your noble quest to save our holy system known as the Unordering, imparted by the god Anam, the Allfather?
If that is your wish, then yes.
Yeah.
We will do our
Yeah.
best to protect you, my queen.
I would be happy to have you, but I must question. What are you gonna do with this place? I mean,
My
you
father
can't leave it, could you? I mean,
My father left regularly on missions. I'm sure that my council and their many opinions could probably hold down the fort for a couple of days.
I'm sorry. That's so good.
that was what I wanted to hear.
Well, you already jumped ahead of the second part and swore that you will promise to protect me, and I will do the same to the best of my abilities. She kind of breaks the formality. Know that I, Queen Sarissa, will then follow you. And to the best of my ability and the best of your ability, we will do what we can to find Hecaton and to stop the ordaining from being in disarray. I decree now that you are my knights of the converging storm, and this storm will wash away all the lies and those who oppose our quest. Do you accept this title?
Yes.
And I stand up to my feet and take the weapon of my people and lay it across my chest and say, "To my dying day, my queen."
Then stand, knights, and know now that not only are you an honorary member of the Storm Giant family, but you are now trusted friends of mine. She looks to the room. Does anybody oppose this? By the looks of their faces, they all do, but nobody says anything. Good.
Thank you.
Then nobody else should have a problem with these ones walking around this castle. This fortress is now theirs, as much as it is yours or mine, and they shall be listened to, and the information they bring shall be heard. This one knows something. The coin that none of you could figure out is apparently the part of some gambling ship called the... She can't remember. Do you, Octavius?
Yeah, I actually have that in my notes. Damn it. Give me 1 second. Where the fuck is that?
I know what it is, but if you don't, I can remind you.
Oh, I don't have it in my notes, man. I thought I
The
did.
Grand Dame.
Yeah, the Grand Dane. You just said that like a half an hour ago.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's okay. You could have got inspiration, but you missed out. Just
I
kidding.
know.
So we will quickly speak in the study of what our next move is, and then I shall leave. The two sisters speak up. Sarissa, you can't leave. It's far too dangerous. What if something happens to you? Yes, sister. What if something happens to you? Nim echoes, like she seems to like to do. Then my knights and me shall do our best to protect each other. Regardless, nothing is going to get solved sitting around here, hidden away 3,000 feet below the ocean. We've done that for months now, and things have only gotten worse. So now is the time for action. Uthor kind of smiles, says, well, Sarissa, I gotta admit that I am totally against this, but I'll be damned if I don't see your father and your mother. Just a perfect combination of storm imbued in you right now. To which Mithrim speaks up and says, yes, Sarissa, I know that me and you have not had much time to grow close, and I am sorry that I missed you being raised as a small girl. But I knew your mother and I knew your father. And I can tell you now that they both would be very proud to see the woman who rules over this kingdom right now. I respect your order, and I shall watch over Maelstrom in your leave. along with your uncle, if that so fits you.
Livy wiped a tear from her eye.
Excuse me.
Well,
So touching.
then she's kind of surprised that it works. She snaps out of it now, and she goes back to like her girlish kind of way or like youthful look, and she's just kind of shocked that everyone's like, yeah, they're finally listening to her. She's finally gotten the respect that she rightfully has title to. And she kind of stumbles for a moment and says, well, first thing is then that should be done is that you should find at least another couple of members for the council in my leave, Mir and Nim. Sister, we volunteer. Yes, sister, we volunteer. They both kind of echo. She looks around. There's no one really else. Yes, Mir and Nim. I know that you are not necessarily impressed being the older sisters that father chose me, but I think that now it's more important than ever that our family comes together to one cohesive mind. You four shall be the council in my leave, and I leave it under your tasking to deal with the ongoings of Maelstrom and protect it in my leave. I have no doubt that if word gets out, that the other giants will see this as a weakness. So the defense of this place is still of the utmost of importance. We should go speak of our next move. She looks to you for. I must hear more about this grand dame and what to do next. Do you four agree?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right. Then you begin to move down. She steps out of the throne, grabs onto the necklace in her hand, and it momentarily phases out of existence. It's gone. This massive throne that she's currently sat on just seconds ago is just vanished. And she turns behind her and motions her hands to a hallway, pointing down towards the south.
Let's go.
You guys begin to head down said hallway. She looks to Laboon, the whale that's kind of just been awkwardly sitting there the entire time, and says, Laboon, meet me in my room. And he jumps up in the water and then splashes down, kind of splashing the entire room, and swims away underneath to obviously some tunnel that must be underneath there. And she begins to walk you down the hallway, turning towards the left corridor, which leads you up another set of stairs. She grabs the necklace again and summons the throne and says, if you guys would like, you can... Actually, on second thought, that's a really bad idea, she says. Sorry. And phases it out again. You probably shouldn't do that. I almost forgot.
What was okay?
And she holds out her hands. Would you like me to carry you up the stairs? I know they're a little large for you guys. And this is the first time someone's offered to help you up the stairs.
Absolutely.
Everyone say no.
Yeah, I guess as long as we do it in a respectful way.
Actually,
Don't get too handsy.
Yeah.
it won't take us a minute to get up the stairs, will it, Chris? But I'd like to do something kind of cool.
Sorry?
It won't take us a minute to get up those stairs, will it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, like, if you were to climb up them, probably more than a minute. But if you take...
You probably see where I'm going.
Yeah.
I'm gonna cast Radiant Soul, and the beautiful radiant wings come off my back, and I take flight and fly up next to her and go, can't do this for long, but it's a cool trick. And I fly up next to her.
It's quite cool. Are you like an angel or something? I've heard of winged individuals like yourself.
I kind of. I'm an ass. And I always said it wrong.
Asimar.
Yeah, an Asimar.
I'm an ass, he says.
Yes, I'm an asshole. No, I'm an Asimar, and we are kind of touched by the angels.
Joe.
It's really impressive. She watches you fly up to the top, and it leads to this kind of private little meeting room where there's a massive muscle shelled table in the middle of the room. Their walls are lined with giant sized bookshelves and covered with nautical charts. And you see a couple of anemone looking chests that sit in the corner of the room, and a concave wall. She walks up to the concave wall, and there is a starfish kind of mounted there, a really large one actually. And she puts her hand on it and pushes into it, and it reveals a corridor to a set of spiral staircases that lead both up and down. And she'll begin to follow you or lead you. Let me just make sure I'm not messing this up here. I'm looking at like multiple maps at the same time here. She is going to actually bring you down the spiraling staircase, and will say that her private room is upstairs. It's obviously hidden away in case anyone ever does find their way into the fortress, making it much more difficult to find me. I imagine you're actually probably the first small folk. It's okay if I call you small folk, right? Is that the meaning or anything? I don't really know. It's what everybody else call it. Well, I guess my uncle called you puny rodents. That sounds a lot worse.
Yeah, that's worse.
Maybe just shrubs.
Small folk's good.
Okay, small folk. Well, I guess I could call you
Just
by your
don't
name.
call me late to dinner.
She laughs. I don't get that at all, but yeah, dinner. And she leads you down, actually. Which now I need to page through maps. Find the map. Okay, and let me reveal some fog of war. And share the map to you. Finally coming into another room, you carry down the staircases for a while. And I'll say with your wings that you're actually able to fly the entire way. And by the time you get to the bottom staircase, the wings finally wear off, and you find yourself in a massive room, which, sorry, let me pull up the description here. I was not prepared.
Did you share? I didn't get the pop-up.
Yep, I shared it. I thought I did. Oh, hold on. I got to do this first. I always forget that I have to share the map first, and then I got to share where I'm looking. It's actually the original first floor map that you guys were on. You're just in a different...
They just closed it.
Yeah.
So there you guys are. And I'm just going to keep her token on the map now because we're not really doing anything tactical, just kind of giving you guys a visual. And you see now the massive pool in the center of the room. Laboon, the killer whale, jumps up again and kind of sits there. She walks up to that green little anemone-looking chest in the corner of the room and opens it up, and there's a bunch of fish in there. And she says, "Would you guys like to feed Laboon? He's been waiting all day to eat." Being quite well-mannered, if I do say so myself, besides that initial splash. And she walks up and pets him. Laboon sits
Absolutely.
there, this massive killer whale with an open mouth expectantly.
Are these like really large fish?
They're probably like two-handers for you.
Yeah. So Reich would absolutely maybe have just landed at that point. You know what I mean? It just kind of goes over and grabs one of the fish. It looks at it, kind of looks up at her and goes, "Just throw it in."
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Throw it up, actually, just above his head.
Okay. And he lofts it. He's the strongest person in the party, and puts it probably a little bit too high, maybe.
You would think so, and then shockingly, the whale kind of descends into the water and then flies up into the air and just literally grabs it out and then belly flops down and splashes the entire room. She claps and calls out, "Nice job, Laboon. Great catch." To which you guys are all soaked once more.
Yeah, right. Slides off the mask for the and he doesn't do this very often. But his glowing eyes are definitely showing. It looks up at the princess. I mean, sorry, the queen. And says, "That is fascinating."
Yeah, he's quite impressive.
Because he was because in my prior to a couple days ago, I was a kind of very adept to the sea. These creatures are fascinating.
And you can tell like she's kind of oblivious to the fact that you guys maybe are like a little annoyed that you're wet, or maybe not just annoyed, but like just like wet. And she's just like a proud pet owner. Like, yeah, he's just great, isn't he? He keeps me good company. He's probably one of my closest friends. And he swims up and lets him pet. But sorry, I'm getting distracted. Quickly, this is one of my favorite rooms to spend my time in. And she opens up the door and reveals another study, it's looking like. And she says that she comes here quite often when she needs to be in solitude. And it's an ugly looking bookshelf that looks to be made of shipwrecks, just different parts of a boat that barely stand lopsided against one wall. And she says, this is the shelf that my father, Hecaton, built me. It looks like it's barely even like standing there. He's not the most what's the word you're looking for? Artistic with the tools and whatnot, but it was a really nice gesture, something that he doesn't often show. So it's kind of my pride and joy, and it's packed full. And she whips them out with books that were all written by small folks, and they're just these tiny little books in her hand.
Livy'd like to read. Livy'd like to read.
And she says, this one's actually one of my favorite. And she hands you a book with a tale that you're probably quite familiar with, Livy. I'm not sure which one in particular, but it's probably one of the ones that your father, Aaron, used to tell you all the time. A collection of fairy tales and whatnot. And then she also kind of shows you all these. They're not all just like fairy tales. There's like a pretty impressive shelf of books written by your people's culture. There's also a spyglass, which she says that sometimes she takes up into her room on the 3rd level and looks out into the ocean, which we are actually currently in. She says, a matter of fact, and she grabs onto the necklace once more. We're exactly 3,133 feet away from the surface of the ocean, the trackless sea. You guys are probably deeper in the ocean than you've ever been. And that's a horrifying thought for you all, because if you were to even step foot in the ocean, you'd probably be crushed.
Did you know that's over 100 atmospheres deep? That's actually correct.
Let's see if she knew. Yeah, I did actually. I'm quite studied. And she says, but anyways, apologize. We're getting distracted here. It's just so nice to talk to people different who aren't looking at me in a different way. It's a breath of fresh air, but I made a very bold claim up there, and I appreciate you guys going along with it. The title does come with all of the privileges that a normal knight of my guard would have. You guys are guests, not only guests here, but honorary members now of Maelstrom. So, although I don't think we should spend much time here, you can look at this as a home of yourselves. But tell me more about what you think our next move should be. This Grand Dame, Yartar, you said that's your hometown, right?
That is where I was from.
You say was, but you have a bit of scorn on your face. Did things not end well there for you?
Let's just say I have found a home and a family on the road that I might have found more joy with than the one that I grew up with. But yes, someone very close to me was killed in my last day there. That coin. It's odd that you have the same.
It's the only thing that was left on my mother. All of her other remains were taken. She was brutally murdered, but for whatever reason, she held that. For the longest time, I wondered what it could possibly mean. It seems like such a trivial thing. And even now, knowing a gambling coin.
Did your mother ever talk about dragons?
I mean, all of us giants are raised to know that dragons are our natural enemy. We have been at war with dragons since the beginning of each of our creations. They are our mortal enemies. That's what I've been raised to believe.
Did your
They're
mother ever say she knew any dragons? Like, had encounters with dragons? Obviously bad, if that's what dragons and giants usually do.
not that I remember. I know that father has obviously over the years encountered and fought with dragons, but I think he has killed most of the ones that he fought with.
You know, Octavius would just be shaking his head and staring at the coin deep in thought. Or just, kind of wander off in his own head.
She'll look to the rest of you now. Like I honestly have very little experience above surface. My mother would take me on day trips. It's actually how I met Sunny, funnily enough. We were heading to the ocean and the surface, and there was a really bad storm, and we popped up and didn't know it, but her ship was there, this little tiny sailing ship. To think that just her by herself on that little tiny thing in the massive ocean, we capsized her and wrecked her ship. From there, we got to know each other and became friends. I helped her rebuild it with my mother, and she taught me a lot. I'm very sad to know that she is gone. She promised me that we would meet again one day.
I'm glad you never got a chance to know her while she was drinking.
Yeah.
She's like she says interesting. She was always very kind to me, but yes, I wouldn't want anything to tarnish her image.
Warren will be walking about, sort of scratching at his chin. Seems like he's going a little bit gray lately. Say, now, you must give me, Queen, since of course, I have many, many respects for my authority figures, and for many people in general, as my friends can attest. I'm a very generous man, yes. But do I have the freedom to speak freely here? I don't wish to offend you, but I must ask a question.
Of course. Ask anything.
How much do you trust your family? See, don't. I don't wish the worst, please. But I've had a lot of years under my belts. I've dealt with a lot of what you would call unscrupulous folks. But it always seems that it's the ones you trust that fuck you over.
Wanda, language.
Well, to be honest, it's true.
Yeah, and
But
you'll
not-
remember as you were recounting the story that one of the questions you asked the oracle was how to stop the ordning from spinning out of control, and it said that there is an evil to be rooted out within Maelstrom.
Right.
And she remembers you speaking of that and says, those words do sincerely worry me, but Thor has known me since I was a little girl and has protected me all of his life. And my sisters, they can be jealous brats, but they're my sisters. You don't really think, I don't know. There's never been an act of ill will between one storm giant to another. Not that I ever know of.
Why did that one giant say she didn't get to know you as a child?
Mithrim.
Mithrim, that's what it was. I almost thought it was Mavar. How silly of me.
Well, you see, she didn't live with us. Not all storm giants live here in Maelstrom. We're located all over different parts of the sea. And she is an aunt to my father. She showed up for the funeral of my mother, but by then, my father had already left.
Did they ever get a chance to spend time together? here
My
before
father?
your father left.
No. She showed up after he was gone. Although he left pretty much the day of my mother's. The day we found her, she says for a king, he's so hot-headed. He didn't even organize the funeral. He said that he refused to have a ceremony for her before he knew what had happened. After he didn't show up for months, we held the funeral without him. You're muted again, Corey. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Hangouts just doesn't like him.
Yeah, the fall of Hangouts is imminent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I what I was gonna say is, how long has he been gone? Because Reich doesn't know that.
Who would know that?
I said Reich wouldn't know how long he's.
Yeah, let me see. Actually, I think I have it marked in my calendar. Which, if you guys didn't know, I have a calendar.
we all had the ability to check it out.
Yeah, you have calendars, but I have things marked into my calendar.
His calendar's better.
My calendar has all the secrets of everything that's happened in this campaign so far. Although, of course,
So does my brain.
as I brag about this, I can't click it up. But knowing what I believe I know, of course, you freaking bastard of an app. Shitter me. Oh, here we go. I got it. Okay. So that happened on the Lent. So I believe that view. Okay, that happened then. So yeah, it happened 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months ago. You guys are actually in the final month of the year, Nightal, and there's actually only a couple of days left of the month. Not that you guys have probably been tracking it because it's been so crazy that time to think about the date, but it's actually the 29th, the second last day of Nightal, and then it goes on to the next year, 1495. It will go to in 2 more days. But yeah, she reveals that Mithrim she showed up, and Hecaton never really got a chance to deal with her because he was gone.
Your father must be being held by something very strong for him to be gone for 6 months and for the Oracle to not know his whereabouts. I am worried that finding him might not be as easy as we seem to think it is.
And hello, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. And from the notes, it says that there was a powerful magic that is making it so you can't see that. But again, Reich doesn't know that.
But the Oracle did say that it didn't know, right? Unknown powerful magic blocks it, so that means that within reason he is still alive, right?
Yep.
I knew it.
But for 6 months without ransom, I'm not sure what the goal would be other than the ordering.
Well, let me actually think. Let me do an intelligence check by her. She's pretty smart, but
Then that would mean another giant would have to have kidnapped him. Because no small people would ever even want or know about the ordering enough to make it start happening.
And
Right.
and wouldn't it take like an army of all of the small folk, as you call us, to even take down your father?
Yes, my father is the strongest giant right now. That is why he is king. He is known as the most mightiest of all giants. The thought of something actually taking him down doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But a storm giant has never attacked another storm giant. It is one value that we have never broken.
There's always a first.
Yeah. Just because you don't talk about it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Are you What are you
What
insinuating?
I
Who do
can
you?
say of this group is you will probably expect the unexpected there, Queen.
And with her intelligence check, she says that the one thing that would maybe make sense is that if Hecaton was never confirmed dead, but also not found, then my rule to the throne is only a technicality.
Could never be legitimized.
So maybe, I don't know. It all seems, but to what cause? Who do you think would do this?
We do not know yet.
Whoever has something to gain.
And from the very little that I've met of your people, it doesn't seem that everybody's looking for the opportunity to change everything.
I believe right now we can trust your uncle and maybe no one else.
That is a frightful thought. What should we do? Should I arrest him?
No, we can't move too fast. We must find more evidence, find proof.
You're right. If we did make a move against them now, that would just cause more anxiety and strife.
It's
Well-
only a thought anyway. Of course, we wish something like that is not true, but I simply wish to bring it up to keep in mind.
Maybe we should spend a day or two in Maelstrom before we head out for your father. See if we can root out the evil that the Oracle spoke of.
So I have a way with wooing women. Let me chat with them.
Yeah, we can. I guess that makes sense. Although I can be honest with you, I don't think anyone's going to really be happy with your presence here.
We can keep out of the way.
How do you guys feel? Should we find more clues on the Dane, or should we wait in Maelstrom? Choose your own adventure.
Libby's for sticking around Maelstrom. Like, maybe they could kind of figure out who is not so trustworthy.
Well, for that coin to get here, it's either somebody here goes there, or somebody there comes here.
So besides your, is that your aunt, the one that said hasn't seen you very often?
Yes, although she's been with me for the last 7 months.
But who has pushed the most to become queen besides you?
Well, no one openly pushes to do that. I'll tell you right now that both of my sisters are not impressed by it. You see, they are each my elder, and the way the chain of succession should go is to my eldest sister.
Why did your father choose you? Do you know? Did he say?
He always said that the other two, although eager, were not necessarily ready. To be eager for a position of rule often means that you are not the one that should be ruling. I think he literally just chose me because I didn't want to be the ruler.
Huh. Cool.
Your father clearly saw something in you.
You seem to have it in you, my queen.
I agree.
Not many others do, but I'll take that for what it's worth. Thank you.
We didn't get votes on Rick Liviant or what the hell's wrong with me? Warrendale.
Sarissa would say that I think that proof or some kind of hard evidence would definitely, if we're going to make accusations, you have to understand the severity of this. In all of our people's history or time, no other storm giant has made ill intent to another. So if we were just to come out of the gates with that, it would be indeed very dangerous and probably make us look worse. So if
Really
we're
bad.
going to
Like-
find something, we need to find something hard and concrete.
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
one
make us look
possible-
like
Lead on the coin.
Where are the journals kept?
yes.
I can see them.
It's very normal for the other giant clans to be aggressive towards each other. Is that normal?
Well, and she goes into the big history of the ordning, which
Yeah.
I won't go into it all, but obviously there's a caste system, right?
Yeah.
The storm giants on the top, the hill giants on the bottom. While the ordning was in position, no giant actively made any aggression towards another giant, although none of them really agreed with it. Hecaton, because it was a God-given system, a caste system in place by God, nobody questioned it. She would explain to you that none of the giants liked it, besides obviously us who are at the top. But when the ordning was shattered, which was something that all giants just instantly felt, more and more discontent and aggression was brought forth, but everyone always feared Hecaton. He is by far the most mightiest of all giants. So no one actively went against him, except for Jarl Strolvad, who you guys remember facing off against. He openly declared war and headed off into the north of the world and swore that he would one day do battle with Hecaton. But then when he went missing and never returned, that is when things started to really spin out of control. And that is why now all the giants that are running amok in your surface world are doing so. They're all doing what they believe will impress the Allfather and gang them the position on the highest chain of the ordering. It's terrible and also stupid. Like Sansari, which you explained to me, combining two ancient artifacts that she didn't understand and literally exploding herself. It's so incredibly dangerous and stupid. How would she think that Anam would want that?
Right. And pretty much ruined my life. So again, I have complete allegiance to you, my queen. I believe that not the wisest of us, I don't think, but I believe we should go to the surface because the answers aren't here.
The castle has been stagnant for the past 7 months. Nothing really goes on here. Giant lords come and go and demand counsel with me and make inquisitions, so they call it, onto what is going on and how the investigation with my father is going. But I know they're all just sizing us up and waiting for the opportune moment. While I have news that other giant lords on the Sword Coast, which is where you guys are from, are actively causing destruction in the world, doing what they think, actually openly acting treasonous towards us. So I agree. Things here, nothing goes on here. If someone is a traitor amongst our midst, they must be waiting for something to happen.
If we can follow the lead of that coin back, maybe we can find who held it, or somebody who's willing to testify or give us lead against someone here.
Yes, and tell me more about. Do you know much more about this coin?
I have a friend who could possibly tell me more, but I cannot call him here.
You can't call him here?
We would have to be above the water.
Oh, interesting.
Because are you speaking of that dragon that we saw earlier?
Dragon?
Well, yeah, that's probably one of the reasons I shouldn't call him here.
Wait, are you guys saying you're in line with a dragon? She
He was a good friend of mine. We're not in line with him. He's just, I met him a long time ago. He did me a favor. I've done him a favor. He saved us. We've saved him.
So confused, though. I've been told that dragons are nothing but murderous, rampaging, greed-hungry, power-hungry creatures of destruction.
The one thing that I know about Saul is that he has never killed or wants to kill. He just seems like he's having fun and really got a thing for wagons. Seems like a really nice guy.
Bit of a fetish.
Yeah, but I've never known him to actually have any anger or want to hurt another person or anything.
This is all very confusing, the words you are saying to me right now. But
And I think I can say to you there, my queen, I think it's the misconception of all of us. You think that the small folk are the problem. You also think that the dragons are the problem. We've also all been told that we need to watch out for giants and dragons ourselves. Maybe we're just all folk.
maybe somebody is all just pulling us on a string against each other, and we just don't understand it. You're right.
If you'll trust me, my queen, and you promise not to hurt him, he will come.
Listen, we definitely cannot, under any circumstance, bring a dragon to here.
No, not here.
To have a dragon inside this fortress, literally, people would lose their minds. But if I could just see him before, I would be more willing. I don't know if I can. It's just a whole lot. Like everything I've been. I know something actually. She kind of snaps her fingers. I know a way. If we wait till night, there is a way that I can see him probably, get a peek at him, and if I deem that he does look indeed trustworthy, then yes, I can bring you to this friend. I can find out where he is exactly. I can see what he's actually doing right now, and then we can go to him.
How are you going to do that?
There is a artifact or something that we have here. We call it the scrying pool. And it's this crazy pool of water. And when you think of something or have something that somebody has... Do you have something of his? Something that he's given you?
I do.
Then I can just toss it into the pool and it will let me see what they are doing. Let me see them.
Will I get it back?
Yeah, of course. And then when I know where he is, I can actually teleport right to him with the worm skull throne.
Will he know that we're looking at him?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I mean, there's a chance that he might not know, but if you would be more comfortable with it, I can make our presence known.
As long as he knows it's me.
On second thought, though, I don't know if I want him to know we're looking. How do I know that he just doesn't put on a charade that he's doing something that looks inconspicuous? I would be better suited to just see him in his natural habitat.
I understand, but he is a friend of mine. He trusts me and I trust him. As I trust you, and hopefully you will trust me.
That worked out so well with those wagons.
What do you mean wagons? You guys are talking an awful lot about wagons, and I don't know if this is some kind of inside code word.
There's not. Don't worry about the wagon thing. It's really not a thing. It's everyone just. It's yeah. It's what it is.
Thing.
It's not a thing. It's just a thing. It's not a thing.
Tell you what, Octavius, let me spy on him, and if he is not doing anything bad, then I will make my presence known, and I will apologize, and I will never doubt you or another word you say. But if
I believe in him. Here's my coin.
Murderous dragon.
And I'll flick my coin over to the queen, and I'll be like, "Yeah, I mean, hey, this whole thing has got to start with trust, right? Let's do this."
All right.
But
we must wait till nighttime, though. If people have seen us running around, and
this cannot be a move against my friend, though.
If he is what I have been raised to believe he is, then I will just no sooner go to him. I don't know. We're locked in kind of a contract now, us. I really hope that... I wish you would have told me maybe beforehand that you're in allegiance with a dragon, which is our mortal enemies, but I don't know. I won't openly attack him unless I am forced to do so.
Thank you for that.
half the person that you say is. What's that,
That's all I
sorry?
ask.
Warren, just make sure he's turned the other way.
Okay. Then we wait till nighttime.
Would you mind if we took a quick rest? We're a little
Absolutely.
tired. It's been a long
Sorry.
day. It's kind of
Absolutely.
crazy shit.
You guys can head back down to your guest quarters. No one should bug you anymore.
Is there any easier way to get down all these massive structures?
Here, I got an idea. Come here. And she picks you up if you let her.
Yeah. Still demeaning to a barbarian, but yeah, sure.
I mean, she is 30 feet tall, but
yeah.
she'll grab you, and then she holds onto the necklace, and the throne appears in front of her again. And she whispers to you and says, "You must not tell anybody that we are doing this, for it's a bit of abuse of power. But if we're going to be doing it soon anyways, I guess you guys might as well prepare yourself." And she sits down into the throne, which is floating, and she grabs the necklace around her neck once more and concentrates. And then suddenly you all feel a swirling confusion of lights and darkness swirling around your head. You feel as if you are nothing, and experiencing the entire universe all at once before suddenly the uncomprehendable feeling is just snapped out before you, and you suddenly are whole again, and you feel your body again, and you now look around, and you are no longer in her private study. You are in the guest quarters.
That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Being queen has a couple perks.
Can anybody else do that?
I can teleport.
Like, can anybody else use your throne? I've heard a lot about the Worm Skull throne. I've never seen it.
What have you heard about it? I'm curious. You did ask the Oracle about it. I didn't know that your small folk actually were aware.
I've heard a tale that there are many wands that are used to control the throne. I've noticed that you might have one.
Yeah, there's actually 10 thrones. This one is called the Corolnor Scepter. Corolnor Scepter. I'll spell that into fantasy grounds.
Where are the rest of these ones? Do you know?
No. This one was actually found in a shipwreck by my mother, Neri, and she gave it as kind of a 2-part gift for my father's 115th birthing day ceremony. She apparently found this and held on to it for a while, and then found the second part, which is the Worm Skull throne, and had it magically enhanced for my father and gave it to him as a gift for his 114th birthday. The throne itself was said to be built centuries ago by the dwarven gods and entrusted to their mortal ruler, King of Xanatar. It was a symbol of their power and pride, and a weapon used against their ancient enemy, the dragons. It's said that these 4 skulls are actually the skulls of 4 of the most powerful blue dragons that ever walked the earth. Eventually, the Dwarven Kingdom fell, and the throne disappeared and reappeared throughout history. My mother purchased it off a band of adventurers. And yeah, when one of the 10 scepters are used in conjunction with the Worm Skull throne, it gives you all kinds of powers. Although if you were to just sit on this throne without a scepter, you would be petrified or paralyzed in it.
And you've heard no tell of any other scepters?
No. They're all said to have been lost in the times.
Well, thank you for the ride, my queen.
Don't tell
Let me know when you'll be spying on my friend. I'd like to be there.
Yes, absolutely. I would never dream of doing it without you. We'll have to be a little sneaky, but... All right. she'll vanish
Sneaky's
away
my
and
middle name.
let
Yeah,
you guys
right.
rest. So she vanishes away again, grabbing onto the scepter, which she now shows you that her necklace is obviously the Krolanor scepter. I don't know why I can't fucking say that word. And just to give you a description of what it looks like a I should have this in front of me. Where the fuck did it go? Ba, 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 ba. It is basically this mithril looking rod, pretty plain, with a gemstone on the bottom of it, kind of like a little pommel. And then the top of it is a ring of silver. And in this ring of silver with a hole through the center of it, the ring portion of it has 9 blue amethysts. Amethyst, is that right? Embedded around it in kind of perfect symmetry. It doesn't really look like that impressive, but as you have obviously, Octavius, heard of the 10 scepters and the worm skull throne through your studies. That is a incredibly powerful 2 artifacts.
Octavius would say that it worries him that if there is an evil corruption in Maelstrom, there could possibly be another wand, and that would be a direct bad thing for the Queen and us.
Did she say that there was multiple thrones, or just 10 scepters for one throne?
10. So the one main scepter, the Krolanor scepter, is the kind of the king's scepter, and the 9 other scepters were given to his 9 other rulers. And basically, they're said to keep him in check in case the king ever did succumb to kind of a power hungry. But this main one is kind of the master key and the significant one over the others. Although technically, if the other 9 were gathered, then it would be able to
Overthrow him.
It would be able to what's the word I'm looking for? Negate the rule over the throne.
But there is only one throne, so
Yes, there is
Please
only
God,
one
thank
skull. That's correct. You guys are now alone in the room as she vanishes away. She said she'll come back at nighttime. You guys have 8 hours to rest. So if there's anything that you want to do outside of the ears of Giant, now would be the time to start discussing it.
Lily hops onto flops onto a pillow. She's ready to go to sleep. So if anyone's gonna say anything, say it now. Good night, y'all.
pass a note here too.
What about
No.
Wandel and what about Reykjaviant?
No, I think sort of just being his own thoughts. I don't really have anything else at the moment to add.
Okay, Reykjaviant. Are you doing the weird mute thing again?
Yep.
My dude, I'm not sure what is going on with your computer today. He's gone, but I'm going to assume that you guys rest. So I will go ahead and give you a long rest. And
Woo!
the night.
That's gonna be such a glorious feeling to wake up from 8 hours of sleep and be like, oh, we actually slept
in bed.
Oh, in beds, and Livy just stretches and she's like,
How
I
many
need to go
months has
run
it
the
been
kitchen.
since we've had a
This
bed?
is
Why
a
are you even
pancake
saying-
day.
This is a pancake day. It's been fucking
So Livy
months
will
since we
go off
slept in a
to run
bed.
in the kitchen.
Yeah,
Octavius remembers the last bed he slept in. Jesus.
I know, right?
He got, it was when we were getting those huge first doors.
And if any of the others like are waking up, like she sees Octavius awake, she's like, hey, good morning. Super cheery.
the warm smell of Livy's succulent pancakes are awakening all you from it's. You say good morning, but it's actually nighttime that you wake up in. Some
Yeah,
evening.
Reich wanted to do nothing, just so you know that. And yeah, sorry.
Yep, no worries.
Stupid, weird hangouts. They're going away in a couple days anyway, so.
Yeah, I
okay.
know. I gotta really find an alternative soon.
You can use mine if you want, Chris. No biggie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if Octavius smells pancakes, it doesn't matter what fucking time of day it is, man.
You rise out of bed on a mission and come storming down. Your nose kind of leads you out the door and to the right and immediately to another door, to which you see Livy is literally like standing above this kind of giant-sized oven with a massive pan in her hand that she's just like putting her entire arm over and just like flopping enormous pancakes in the griddle. And they smell delicious.
Zephyrs floating castle.
I guess give me a performance check at advantage to see how well cooking with giant utensils go for you.
Oh, come on, Livy. Come on, Livy. Don't fail me.
You've never made a bad pancake check yet, so don't start now.
All right, so you got a base of 13.
Nice. Your performance is +5. So yeah, she is impressive, even using these giant-sized utensils. It's not her first rodeo. Zephyros' castle. She already has experience. That's why you get an advantage on it. So some delicious giant-sized pancakes await you for a midnight snack. To which Sarissa in the middle of the night comes down and says, "It smells absolutely delicious in here. What are you guys making?"
You should have a pancake.
Here's the fresh one right off the griddle.
She instantly puts it in her mouth, and it's just immediately too hot for her. She like goes to like want to spit it out, but she's like, "It's too delicious."
Oh, sorry, she's on it.
And she dumps a little bit of syrup into her mouth and says, "Holy, that is absolutely amazing. This is incredible. This is what you guys eat?"
When we can.
Man,
This is probably the
Awesome.
I can't wait to adventure with you guys. This is going to be so great. My first time going on a actual surface adventure, not a little day trip with my mother. And I get to eat these pancakes. These are awesome. Can't wait. And anyway, she kind of snaps out and realizes that you guys have a mission to do. So she tells you that we're going to have to be...
It's first time having her pancakes, too.
True. And she says the easiest way to probably do this is just to teleport right there. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a journey to go through. And I'm going to share the map to you guys all with the fog of war now kind of taken off so that you can fully see the map. And she is going to take you to this room that I've just kind of highlighted. She teleports you there unless you guys have any things that you want to do before she does.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, you're there.
You're there.
Wow. It like works for like 2 minutes and then it goes away.
That's so weird.
So like, yeah, I was gonna have a funny thing with pancakes, but I wasn't able to, so that already passed. But that's right.
I apologize for missing that opportunity.
Yes, for missing Reich having his first pancake.
Oh, what did Reich think of his first pancake? Was
Yeah.
Well, you know what I was gonna say is like right after Queen Sarissa walks in and has her freak out, Reich kind of walks in, and you guys have been around him long enough now that he's not a guy to talk to in the morning, like when he first woke up, and but he was led here by his note as well, and says, "What is this pancake?"
You gotta try it. Take a bite.
And
Try
he
it.
sniffs it like a little kid that doesn't, know what the hell it is because he's never seen anything like this before. And he has a corner and has the same reaction that everybody does. And absolutely, oh. You just keep saying "oh" a whole bunch of times. And like
300 pancakes later.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, like a whole bunch of pancakes for a huge barbarian man. He goes, "Oh, can you have too many pancakes?"
Yes, you can.
Well, when your stomach starts to complain, yes.
Yeah.
Stuff them in your pockets.
This is something you can do again, right?
When the resources are available, absolutely.
Okay. Then I'm not gonna have the last one. And he kind of goes, it kind of puts his head at the table on a person that ate way too much of the good food that they had for the first time.
They sit very heavy in your stomach.
As everyone's in a pancake coma, Sarissa says, "So is everyone ready to sneak around the castle?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's teleport over to the other room if you want. We're good.
We're ready for a nap.
Livy secretly sabotaging the mission.
Her all along.
How many times do you have to make pancakes before you gain proficiency in making pancakes?
I think
She already has.
Like, is there like levels of proficiency?
She is an artisan pancake maker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have somewhere in my notes that she gets +2 to pancake making. So
It's
that
all
+5
like-
is actually +7.
Picture it as all like this anime glowing stack of like heavenly pancakes that just are like so fluffy and jiggle.
It's so funny that this is like a thing in our campaign. It's so good.
Corey, to be fair, I am a little bummed that I didn't actually make pancakes during @con for everyone.
Yeah,
So,
I was kind of expecting
missed
pancakes and was very disappointed.
Yep. Anyways.
So you guys, once more, she picks you up and says that it's probably easiest that you teleport, and you do so into another study, very similar to the one that she had you guys in below, but it's a little bit bigger, and it's to the west of that room that I have highlighted. There's the same kind of mussel shell table. And she peeks out the door and looks and says that the coast is clear. Now it's very much darker. The glowing lichen has kind of went down to a more dimmish dark blue, and there's much more shadowy. And as she opens up the door, you see that this semi circular basin in the middle of it, a pool of fresh water. You look around the purple marble floors. There is a bending hallway to the north, and stairways that lead down to the south. She whispers you guys in, and you kind of tiptoe your way in, gather around the basin.
I would definitely ask that the rest of the group keeps guard, and I would just say, please, I am nervous for Saul if this goes wrong. Please make sure that nobody else witnesses what we're about to do. I'm nervous for my friend.
All right. And she readies the coin and says that if I'm wrong, Octavius, and he is a trusted friend, I apologize. I don't mean for mistrust to be the start of this
There's no need to apologize. I understand. And you will see, as long as it's not a bad wagon period, you'll see the good that is Saul.
She flips the coin in, and it kind of tumbles into the air and sploosh starts to sink down. And she does a couple of arcanic hand gestures and mumbles a couple of words to herself that don't make a whole lot of sense to you. And the ripples of the water from the coin going in start to kind of vibrate and fill out these circulars that are expanding out towards the outer rim of the basin. And they grow larger and wavier. And then before long, these little ripples start to form an image. And even not just an image, but sounds. And you hear a bustling city, people talking and going, the sounds of merchants haggling goods, people running through the streets. You hear, most of all, music and the sound of wagons and carriages ripping by, and you hear something just jamming out this wonderful melody of Sol, the greatest traveling merchant that ever lived. And this bard, now you take image, is standing on top of this black wagon, and he's literally standing on top of it in the middle of this busy street, the city of splendor. You recognize it as Waterdeep, and there's a bard standing on top of this black wagon that you instantly start to horrifyingly remember. Big dragon's maw on the front of it, 2 horses are pulling it, and this bard is singing a song about a character named Sol, the greatest traveler, the greatest merchant, and how he's just the greatest guy. It's basically like the Gaston song, only it's about Sol. And no one has a wagon like Sol and all this kind of things. And then you see literally sitting at the front of the wagon as beautiful men and women inside are literally throwing out food and coins outside of the wagon to the streets, gathering hundreds of thousands of people's attentions, all looking at this wagon going through the bustling streets. And you see Soul just sitting there at the front of the wagon, smoking this big wizardly-like pipe, his coppery halfling hair, a big smile on his face, and he's even wearing what you guys wouldn't know in this kind of day and age, but like what we as outside players, some form of sunglasses blocking out the sun. And he has this biggest, cockiest smile on his face as he's puffing at the pipe, walking through the streets of Waterdeep with the wagon that he stole from Klauth, just parading it through the streets as a bard is singing tales of his escapades.
Yeah, that's
about right.
That's my buddy Saul, right there. That right there. Right, yeah.
He doesn't look like a dragon. He looks rather tiny.
Oh no, this is how he presents himself when he's around people. He likes to hang out with us a lot.
He does seem to be giving a lot of stuff to the less fortunate. Wow, it sure looks like he has like a lot of money and stuff. Where did he get all that money?
He picks it up here and there.
Well, he doesn't look that harmful to me. He doesn't look like a power-hungry, greeting, raging murder machine that I've been told to. So I guess we go see him.
No.
Do you recognize where he is?
Yeah, I believe I know where he is, but I'm not sure popping right into the center of town with a frost giant hanging out beside us is a great idea. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you a frost giant. I apologize. My Queen Storm, awesome giant of wickedness.
I call you small folk after all.
Maybe we should just pop us out of town or something.
What about this? Your friend actually gives me an idea. I don't know. I've never done something like this before, but let me try. And she holds on to her necklace and concentrates, mumbles another couple of words and hand gestures, and then suddenly her form shrinks down and she takes on a much smaller size. Literally basically looks like herself, only much smaller and a little more inconspicuous, I guess, and medium in size.
Would it be fair to say that Octavius is smitten?
Yeah, she looks pretty cute for sure.
Is she smaller than Reich at this point?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, she would be about medium.
Yeah.
I say that she would teleport down to like a nice like 5'5" or whatever, and then she kind of is like, wow.
Whoa, 5'5"? She's smaller than Lindy. She's like, ha.
Yeah.
And then as you guys are all looking at her, she's like, she kind of looks like a bit embarrassed and is like, did I do it wrong? Did I go too small? Should I go bigger? And she boofs herself up to like 9 feet tall.
No,
it was perfect.
It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah, it looked great. Really wonderful.
She goes back down.
Absolutely nothing.
Feels so weird. Everything is so much bigger. How do you guys do things?
Well, within the, as you call small folk, I'm quite large, my friend.
When we get into a small folk place, you'll understand how easy it is.
Are we going to go to that place? There's so many. I've never been around that many people before.
I haven't either.
Just stick next to me. I show you the way. Don't show you the way. Don't worry.
That's a bad choice.
Just because we're with you, Queen, doesn't mean you shouldn't, worry. Keep your eyes open and your ears open. There is danger everywhere we go.
Everywhere. I've made my living on these streets. I know them like the back of my heel. Don't you worry. I got you.
Warndell, the last time you were in Waterdeep,
hey.
do you remember what was happening?
I know what was happening.
You should have seen the way I kicked their asses.
As he's boasting about this, a voice cuts the silence. What is going on here?
I dive in the pool.
You really dive in the pool?
I want to get my fucking coin, man.
Yeah,
Oh.
you dive in the pool. The image breaks and it just turns into a watery thing. And you look up to the north, and you don't know how she got there because you guys were paying attention. But leaning against the wall is this Mithrim.
Oh, I'm not happy.
Sarissa, what are you doing up so late? And she, oh, hi there, Ants. I was just showing the knights around the maelstrom. If they're going to be knights, they have to know the. And she looks like she stumbled.
I was looking for the bathroom, to be honest. We didn't want to quite get there. You know, it's a bit of a privacy thing.
I needed a bath. I really smelled bad.
Yes, he does. Very bad.
I move my hand underneath my armpits like I'm washing.
I couldn't even sleep with him beside me.
There is bathing tubs in your actual quarters. I don't think that is a place that you should be bathing in. Sarissa, you shouldn't be. It's okay. Have you had much time to think about your next move?
Yeah, we'll be going far, far north
What's up?
of what's north of Waterdeep. I'd name, because since I know the area, I would name a small town north of Waterdeep, and I'd be like, we're going about 20 miles north of there.
Yeah, there's not like any like particular, but there's probably like Waterdeep is literally like massive. So like you could teleport away and find like a couple hamlets or something on the outskirts. She would say, as you tell her this, I spoke with your sisters and your uncle, and we have come up with means to tighten the security in your absence. We will make sure that no one speaks of your leaving. We've told the other giant lords that are here waiting for your presence that you have come down with a bit of a sickness, and that you will speak with them again in a week's time, or a 10-week, or sorry, a 10-day. So I haven't bought you guys a lot of time, but hopefully that's enough. You'll have to be quick.
Thank you.
And she says, yeah. So what were you guys doing here?
Planning our next move. There. Queen sister.
And she walks forth and kind of comes up to you guys, giving you all a stern look, as if like it's almost as if a mother has caught you guys in a sleepover, awake when you shouldn't be. But she comes over and puts her hand on. Actually, she kneels down because Sarissa's caught currently in like small form.
Yeah.
And she says, "Listen, what you did today, Sarissa, was very brave, and like your uncle said, your mother and your father would be very proud. But know that what you're doing is dangerous, so make sure that you do come back to us. You are the ruler after all, and if you fall, then the succession really does break. So, although I am proud and support what you're doing, just be careful." And she realizing that she's small, bamps back up to regular size, which then kind of like boofs up like 3 sizes taller than the kneeling down Mithrim, and they both kind of stand up and give each other an awkward embrace. And then she says, well, you should get some rest. It seems like you're going to have a busy journey ahead of you. Know that we will take care of Maelstrom and your leave. And she walks away.
Fucking stink eye of death.
Warrendale, as she walks away, you realize that the hairs on the back of your neck again were standing up this entire time.
I'll wait to say anything until I feel safer.
Yep, she's gone, and you guys are in the thing. So she probably will eventually bring you back down to your guest quarters and say that you guys plan to leave in the morning.
Did she leave?
Yep, she's gone.
Yeah, if it's just us, I would kind of look over at Octavius, Livy. I guess we're providing too, to a degree anyway. I do not quite trust that woman. Something about her, I don't. Perhaps it's that horde on her head or something, but something is odd.
And why did she just show up now?
I'm with you. I'm definitely with you on that. I sense something odd about her.
I feel like Liv's like, I don't know. She seemed all right. She seems sincere.
You always think everybody's all right there, Olivia.
I mean, until they do something to prove what's wrong.
But
They tried to kill us.
She's creepy.
Anyway, the view's right. We shouldn't judge people without knowing more.
But isn't that our job right now?
Yeah, I guess so. To find more. Our job is to find more, Warren.
Hmm.
I don't think you're going to win this argument, Warren, though. Do you have...
But do you know her?
Me?
Yeah.
Know the woman? No more than what you do. I met her just a few hours ago as well.
I just thought maybe you had heard of her in your travel.
No, I doubt I would have.
Yeah, you give me an insight check, Warrendale. You always bomb your insight checks, by the way.
I know.
Every single one in the entire campaign.
I suck at insights, wisdom, and -1. Yeah, 10.
Yeah, besides what you've already said, just something doesn't, it's like you can't put your finger on it. Like, is it a familiarity or just the heebie-jeebies? But yeah, something doesn't sit right with you.
So looking, go out on maybe a limb, but the way she acts when she's around, and Warren has spent more than his fair time on the streets. He knows how to persuade people and deceive them, and the actions he takes. What I noticed, maybe her taking some of those same sort of actions. Basically, could I use deception to see if she's using deception?
You could actively, yeah, but I'm gonna say that now that she's gone.
Well, right.
Yeah, but if you're were to face off with her again, you could definitely, I guess, roll a deception check. I would say that it would be used in a different way, though. It would be deception intellect based instead of charisma based.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
But yeah, you can give her the scope next time you are with her to see if she is what she seems.
Not really looking at trying to read her, but just trying to read her actions, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, you guys close down for the night. Anything else you'd like to do before you call it for? I guess you guys just slept, but you can't really leave.
Feeling uneasy, I'm just gonna keep watch. I'm gonna stand at the door and I'm just gonna keep guard.
Okay.
I have an unsettling feeling.
I'll sit down next to Livy. You know what I think? I think you and I, the sneaky folk, I think we should go spy on that beach. Have a little fun, eh?
As she kind of thinks, and this grin stretches across her face, I was about going to the library, but that sounds more exciting.
There's always time to read books. How often do you get to spy on a giant lady with a horn on her head?
I would look to Reclivian and I'd be like,
yeah, that puts us out, buddy.
Maybe we should take a walk as well.
Yeah, it's certainly where would we? Is there any more of those pancakes?
Maybe we can find something useful or some information around here. Somebody willing to speak to us.
Well, I wouldn't mind talking to the ones that have been nice to us.
It is my thoughts. I mean, The princess gave us freedom to wander about.
We seem to have the upper hand.
Perhaps you might just stumble upon her room. I mean, it was an accident.
Not so sure we have the upper hand, but we certainly have favor with the queen, which seems to be the base here. So, yes.
Oh, we do need to be careful too. Just because the queen gives us the okay doesn't mean that we're alone. That the others will
Yes.
respect that.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. If you're going to do something sneaky, you don't want to bring this metal man. And I don't sneak well.
We know.
Yeah.
But maybe we should all just see what we find out. Don't get in too much trouble, Warren.
Nah.
It is like the middle of like the
Yeah.
night right now too. It's pretty late.
This is when all the shifty people are out, man.
Yeah.
That's when the most scrupulous do their scrupuling.
Yeah.
We did it.
That's assuming that there's scrupulability to be scrooped.
Yeah, that's right. Let's scroop it up and see if we can find something.
All right, so who's going to sneak?
Idea.
I think Livy and Warren.
Libby is totally going to speak with Warren.
Yeah, and Reich and
Oh, I have an idea. I actually feel like when Reich mentions that he's not very sneaky, Livy would be like, I could teach you.
But you'd have to charge.
Right.
Sounds
he just uggs. You know what I mean? It's like I hit things really hard and for a moment one of the
follow my footsteps.
I will take you to the chapel, and I'll smack Rick Living on the back.
Yeah, that's wait. Chapel?
Oh yes, my
and the
friend.
two of them walk off. I love that. So let's get that sneaky shit going. I love this idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm muted. Make a stealth check first of all to see how sneaky you guys are.
Hold on just a moment. Because I think...
Stealth check coming up. Stealth check coming up.
My heart up.
All right.
Yeah, 20.
Okay.
So who's learning from Libby? Because she just rocked it.
Okay. You go invisible to the eye.
Yeah.
You have mastered standing
Okay,
so
right.
perfectly
Just
still.
follow my steps. Where'd you go?
Yeah. I turn a corner. I go. I thought she was gonna. Oh.
Is she eating peanuts?
Yeah.
What about you, Wandel?
Well, I'm just going to cheat and use greater invisibility and levitate.
Nice.
All right. So then make me an investigation check as you are ninja stealthing around the castle grounds. I keep saying castle, but it's more of a fortress.
Oh gosh. It's not a nat 1, but it's a 2. So she is so focused on her stealthing that she's not taking in any detail. Just, okay, check your breath. Don't breathe too loud and step here, step there. Like Crocs, but actually successful sneaking.
Mm-hmm. So with an 8 and you have inspiration if you guys want to burn it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, let me see what I get first for the 12.
12?
It didn't pop up for some reason, but yeah, 12.
No worries. Okay. So, sneaking around, the first thing that you guys learn, it's going to take you, how long do you want to sneak around for, actually? I'm going to say it's like 2 a.m. right now.
Well,
Aren't they trying to sneak on that one lady specifically?
Yeah, that's what I was rolling for, investigation to see if you can find Mithram.
oh, where are we? Oh, I don't have that map up.
Yeah, you're in the lower map, but yeah, so basically,
Well, I imagine we would probably just head up straight to the cathedral arena area there, and then where the throne is the most obvious to start.
Yeah, so exactly. You're kind of going around, and obviously you sneak past a couple of guards, and you don't really see anyone. You're looking for Imrith or Mithram, and you kind of pop open the door, and you see the throne there, and you walk in, and you swear that you hear whispers. Warrendale.
You're invisible, so let's ask.
It's just Livy.
Counting her footsteps. Where's my sheet? Right there.
Yeah, so basically, I'll shrink my view, but there's people on the tokens right now in there, but you don't see those tokens in there.
Okay.
Right now, you don't see anybody in there, but you swear you hear whispering. You just see the throne, the worm skull throne, and the two others. And then the pool in the center. Laboon is not there this time. The bleachers seem to be empty, but yet you hear the whispers.
Yeah, I just slide along the wall a little way and sort of just stop, hold my breath, and trying to calm my heartbeat down enough to actually hear something or see what it is.
And as you get closer and closer, you realize that it's not in a language that you understand. Or so you think. And then the hair on the back of your neck begins to stand up once more. And the language becomes comprehensible to you. And it says, it's whispering, the kingdom will crumble. The fortress will fall. The ordering destroyed. She is not strong-willed enough to accept what must be done. But maybe you are. And you realize now, Warrendale, something's speaking to you.
Ooh.
You look around. There's nothing there. The throne is just hovering in the center of the room now, and the whisper comes again. Yes. There's something in you. Maybe. And there's a couple of voices speaking. They all agree, yes. He could be the one. He is the one. Not like her. It's the language that is different, yet somehow as you hearing it speak more, it's starting to make more and more sense to you.
Staring at this hovering throne.
Take the scepter. Rule us as you should. You are worthy of our power. Or perhaps you could be.
Yes, I probably could be. He'll slowly back out. As Livy, I imagine, would be sneaking up to the door by now, counting her steps a few more times. I don't think anybody's here, Livy.
Huh?
So perfect.
No.
The hair on the back of your neck subsides again as you step out of the room.
Nah, nobody's there, Livy. Just.
Warrendale, you now realize that you can understand Draconic.
Yes.
How fancy.
I already had it.
No, I added it to your character sheet.
I was going to say, I don't remember having it, but apparently.
Yeah. I added it to your character sheet when the session started.
All right.
How fancy.
As you look around, though, with your investigation, you get a very good general idea of the first and second floor. So when you explore the maps from now on, I'll say that the fog of war has been lifted from the first and second floor. The third floor kind of escapes you. There's only one set of stairs besides the secret set of stairs that Sarisha showed you that leads upwards. Actually, let me just see where this one leads, because I just noticed that now. This goes Oh no, that goes to that. So yeah, there's only one other staircase, which is in the Great Hall, and that's at the top of the room. So with the map right here is where it is. But there's guards posted at that, and apparently you've been informed, spending some time here, that is the king's dormant tower, and that's off limits. No one goes there under the queen's orders. And you get a good idea of the second and first level, but you do not find this Mithrim.
Well, perhaps the others had a bit of luck, Livy. I say we head back down for now. My
Yeah.
spad's over with anyway.
Probably a good idea to reconvene, anyways. See what they found.
Did you hear any whispering about here? Like people talking?
No, it's been actually rather silent. I haven't heard anything.
Oh, I heard something. No matter.
Perhaps your ears are more keen than mine.
And I think that is where we will end the session. Sorry, was Octavius and were you and Reclivian up to something, or I thought you guys were just
We
hanging
weren't
out?
really doing anything specific.
Yeah,
We were
okay.
just gonna walk around. If anything
Then-
bumped into us, we'd kick the shit out of it. That kind of stuff.
Then yeah, that is a good place to end with strange whispers from a throne and a new language acquired. You guys go back down to the chambers that you're in, and you rub the back of your neck, that weird feeling that you got, Warrendale. You don't really know what it means, but it's been a really long day, so
Stranger
maybe
things
you're just
happen.
tired.
I need a bit of rest. I've only slept 8 hours.
And yeah, we'll end it there. So thanks for playing, guys. That was a pretty roll-throy heavy session. What did we roll, like once or twice there? But I had a lot of fun. There's been a lot leading up to these couple of moments, and it was really cool to see some of it unveiled. So hopefully you guys digged it. And I think we are planning to play next Saturday, right? Back-to-back Saturdays.
Yes.
I hope so.
Please.
Next, we will set out with Queen Sarissa into the surface world of the small folk and find Fagolis, who is currently pimping around in a wagon that he stole in the middle of Waterdeep, which
Love it.
Warrendale, you also know who technically lives in Waterdeep. What fun will be had?
Family.
This will be Reich's first time ever going to a major city.
Yeah, we'll
Just
find
trust
out.
me.
Liv might have to say hello to family.
I'll show you the
there.
bestest sights.
Yeah.
Until next time,
I
guys.
told her about the dragon. I knew.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you left that out. Okay, get interesting. We'll find out next Saturday, though. Thanks, everybody, and we're going to end the broadcast. Peace.
Peace.